Hello again, and welcome back to Milkweeds and Roses. Ooh, it's fall, and I'm enjoying putting out some fall decorations. I don't know about you, but honestly, this is my favorite time of year. The nights are getting cool, the humidity is mostly out of the air, at least here in my Zone 5B garden. So it just seems like it's full of potential and a lot of things yet to do. Now, there are some plants that are definitely declining, and so I'm removing those or trimming those back however I can. But there are also some plants this time of year that could use a little bit of help because I've been watching them for a while and maybe they're not succeeding. One such example is this Roald Dahl rose. It was kind of small when I got it, frankly. I ordered it, I believe, from Heirloom Roses. Love them, and they, it's a good job and everything. It just, even though it says that it is able to grow in some shade, there's just too much shade here because of the tree that we have in front here, the lilac, and just the way the light hits this particular area. It's just not enough sun. And also, the soil isn't great right here. Frankly, when this house was built, long before we ever got it, the landscapers gouged out all of the topsoil and then, maybe put 2 inches back in and then put the house here. That's pretty standard practice, or at least it has been. But as a result, a number of the areas right around the house don't have great soil. And this is the case here. There was also landscape fabric, 2 layers, and tons of rock to try to suppress weeds. That's a story for another day, but it doesn't work. Landscape fabric might work for a year, maybe 2, but then weeds actually get rooted into it because of rain and dust, the 4 seasons, leaves that fall and decay. It gives it material on top of this landscape fabric to have weeds embed their roots right into it, and it's just a dickens of a time removing it. But I dug through 2 layers of landscape fabric and rock and planted the soil there, but it's just not good enough soil, frankly. It's faltering. So I'm going to see if I can save it. Fall can be a good time to plant roses, provided you have at least 5 to 6 weeks of some temperatures that aren't going to freeze. We can have a freeze in usually anywhere from mid to late October here in Zone 5B in Iowa. But that still, I think, gives me some time to try to have this work. I'm going to transplant it to the front tree bed and see if I can get it to work, because the colors, the blooms themselves are beautiful. The blooms are beautiful. The very few that I've had here have been gorgeous. I'd just like to get it in a better spot with some more sun and maybe get a few more of those blooms. It's worth the effort. So, that all said, let's get to work. And I had to start digging here with the hori-kori because I wasn't sure what kind of roots I would see. And plus it helped me take out more of the rocks. Again, have I mentioned how hard it is to plant into landscape fabric and rock? Anyway, so I had to free up the rows here and just, it was kind of definitely take some elbow grease on this one, just to see how much it has grown. It's only been in here, I think this is just its 2nd year. Decided to go to the big guns here. That helps. Just to pull it out with as much root intact as possible. So I guess I wasn't surprised that it had not a lot of root growth in this particular spot. As you can see when I pull it up close here, take a look at that. See, not a lot of growth. Certainly no long tap roots, and it's pretty dry. So I was glad to have it go here in the ash tree mound, because as I'm digging down in here, there's definitely more moisture, and this has been heavily mulched to prevent grass growing into here. But, and again, getting more of the big guns out, because I still encounter some old ash tree roots in this particular spot. So that's what I'm doing. Trying to use this and find the best spot for this rose to grow. That I know it won't need a whole lot of amendments, nor should you anyway when you're planting a rose, but it was a good sign to find worms growing here because they're churning the soil. They're helping. But I did add a little bit of aged cow manure, and again, this is going to help with moisture. I've had this for over a year now, so I'm not sure just how fertile it is, but it does help with the composition of the soil here to keep it loose, and again to help with moisture. So just a light sprinkling here in the hole itself, as well as the soil that I have dug out, because this is what I'm going to put back in the planting hole. So just kind of mixing it in there, adding a little bit of some mycorrhizal fungal stuff here. Both of these things come from heirloom roses, and putting it back in there. Now, I also had a couple of asters that had gotten dry when I was out of town, and not to mention the root bound. So I'm just deciding it's probably time to put those in this bed as well. I always had plans to do that, but first had to clean up some of this root area, this root zone. And, yeah, wow, is it really dry? What I will have to do, though, to free up some of these blooms is trim off. This looks brutal, I know, but just trim off the dead on top. But I'm mostly interested in the roots at this point. So again, made a good planting hole here, stuck it in. Don't use a lot of fertilizer because asters don't usually require that. But the stuff that I have cut off, then I sprinkle around the bed itself, because the scent of asters, you can tell it when you've ever trimmed one, is something that repels rabbits. The last step is always watering, a thorough watering. And so I did this with all the plants, the asters as well as the rose. But I like the way the bed is looking here so far. The coneflowers, these will come back, they're hardy. The hostas, the agastache, the tobacco plants have put on some surprising growth, and I like that bright color. And I think the purple here of the asters, when they reflush, will be great to match with the purple grasses here. And yeah, this rose, Roald Dahl, when it comes back up, see, and I just use this to protect the rose itself from rabbits, because if they smell this nearby, they're not going to think, oh, there's something tasty in there. All they're going to smell is aster. I do like, again, this growth of the tobacco plant starting to flower, and it's flowering much shorter, which is great. So I think by the time this is all done, there's my Halloween flag. This will be kind of nice. This plant also has some apricot blooms, hot cocoa, and the dianthus with the pinks. Now I'm going to put more coneflowers in this spot and this spot. I've got 3 coneflowers, 1, 2, 3 that I could put in there. Looking good so far. And hey, I'll let you know if these asters do come back. Well, that's it for today anyway. There is rain on the way, which means it's a good time to plant. It's been overcast all day, and nothing beats rain to really help some new plants settle. I still have some more to do before I get this front tree bed the way I really want it, but at least I'm on the way. And I'm not wasting plants that I bought for fall containers. I had to put these Believer purple asters in here a little bit sooner than I had planned, but that's only because they had dried out so much and looked so horrible. So this way I can put them in there, and if they don't work, that's fine. If they don't come back, that's fine. But at least it's sort of a stopgap for rabbits going after the hostas that are in here. So we'll just kind of see how it goes. They're hardy down to zone 4. So I trimmed off the spent blooms on the top. There are several buds underneath, and if I keep it well watered, at least for a week or so, might get lucky. It's worth a try. So, man, do I need a shower. Let me just say, ew, the humidity picked up because, like I said, the rain is on the way. So it's all good. Well, I hope you're getting some work done for fall in your garden. Working to get some late season color and keep it going. It's fun to just be out no matter what. I want to thank you for joining me. I hope that you do subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'll see you next time. Bye.